first matchup. Look, we've got Fire and Ice versus Rated R. Rated R is a team that is struggling right now. Played pretty perfectly coming out of challengers. They had a lot of steam, a lot of momentum behind them. Fire and Ice, though, has been the talk of the town, if you ask me. They've been the cat's meow, so to say, because every time people doubt them, every time somebody tries to say that they're not good enough, that they're not great enough. I mean, I think it was yesterday, Xploidz, I believe, was on Twitter saying, I'm tired of people telling me not to be on other games because I'm out here just absolutely embarrassing your idol. So why don't you sit down and zip it and watch me continue to perform? So this matchup, to me, speaks volumes about both of these teams. Can Rated R get that first win? Or not the first win, but can they get that win over a team like Fire and Ice? Or can Fire and Ice continue this level of competition, to continue this level of dominance that they have shown throughout the course of this pro league?
Yeah, they're beginning to pick it back up there. They went into a little bit of a slump, and I say a slump. I mean, it was short-lived. You saw how they dominated in that preseason. You talk about how they dominated, or they took a little bit of a slow start in the beginning. But let's take a look at our player to watch, Colin. And this is where I talk about Fire and Ice. This is more their matchup to lose more than it's Rated R's to win. Gearzly, look at his statistics. A KDA over 2.0, a plus-minus, a +7, and he's kind of doing his part, 24.96% of the team's kills.
This is just one of those guys that has been able to do it all for his team since he really had that breakout performance. Fiercely, if y'all don't remember, way back in the day, it feels like a lifetime ago now with the way the world has gone, in San Diego and Mexico City, playing for Esports, playing almost perfect for his squad, doing everything in the world. I love to see the fact that a guy like Gearzly has not lost that kind of edge, that competitive drive to want to continue to put up big numbers, continue to be one of the heads of the Hydra that might be able to take down opponents and really make a name for himself. As you said, being a quarter of your team's kills, just about at 24.96. I'll give him a roundup. There's got to be an engagement somewhere that he's won that we've missed. There ain't no way on God's green he's not at least advancing a fourth of his team's fights in their favor. I really think that is a fantastic player to spotlight. We're going to be able to take a look at how he plays throughout this entire matchup against Rated R. But we need to see how they have decided to fight this battle, because we've got our picks and bans coming right at you, hot off the griddle. Rated R right off the rip, pick Harbor. And that, to me, is a little surprising because I just feel like with the CQC ability of some of those players on Fire and Ice, you're almost feeding them a first map with the way that Winch and Stern fight go. And then, oh, by the way, you're going to Exhibit, which we just saw them put a masterclass on against the United yesterday. So I don't know what's going on here, PR. Maybe you can help me.
I mean, you hit one side of the land talking about that close quarters combat on Harbor and how Fire and Ice is kind of thriving in that. But you also got to take a look at their history on that map of Fire and Ice. They can throw this strategy at you as well. They've been known to put that sniper in middle. They've been known to open up the map. So even though you might be looking at for that CQC, which you spoke of, but you need to be able to watch out for when that sniper is placed middle. You need to be ready for some trick plays, some strategy to be thrown at you. And just like you said, Exhibit being map number 2, Colin, I think we might have ourselves a quick series, but honestly, as I look at it, these players on Rated R, they're hungry. They need to prove themselves. And what a better chance to prove themselves than one of the best Latin American teams emerging this season.
Well, they're going to have to learn to prove themselves very quickly, because I'm going to move us right into our predictions. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to let everybody know exactly how I feel about it. And I think you've already gotten the picture based on how I painted those map picks and bans. If anything yesterday told me what type of team Fire and Ice is, it was not only a 2-0, it was how they handled themselves. They never found themselves out of position. They really dominated the rotational game, which I love, because I always say teamwork makes the dream work. I'm picking a 2-0. I'm picking Fire and Ice. I think this isn't even going to be close.
Damn. Hopefully Rated R is not hearing this pre-show. Those are not words you guys want to hear right before you're going into war against Fire and Ice. But honestly, Colin, I can't disagree with you. We're like two peas in a pod, spaghetti and meatballs, peanut butter and jelly. We go together so nice, and so do our predictions. Let's get another Fire and Ice logo up there, because I, too, am going for the Fire and Ice squad.
Somewhere Murray is smiling, right? Somewhere he's just rubbing his hands together. He's just excited. He said, "I've got one of the hottest squads on the planet, baby. We ain't slowing down no time soon." I don't know if we have the chat prediction in yet. Last I saw it was like 600 and some odd thousand to like 15. I mean, we should probably put it to bed. I'm pretty sure that brand new emote we saw a few weeks ago, you got the long count on him. I'm sure at the end of that 3, they call it off. They call it off. He's bleeding. He's down. It's Fire and Ice. Chat has gone for him as well. I don't even know if there was a debate in chat. I don't know if anybody stood up and put their hand up. I know there might be a few people representing Rated R in the chat, so hopefully they put their money on the table for that team, but I hate to say it, a little overwhelming. All 3 of us in the same boat. Just a hair, baby.
98%. I know there's still some time. There's still some time for those secret Rated R fans to click in their votes. Maybe you spread that link around Facebook a little bit. Do whatever you got to do to get those. But 97. Woo! Ooh, it's not as bad. It's not as bad, Colin. It's not as bad.
All right, look, ladies and gentlemen, we have a solid 3-0 in the predictions, me, PR, and the chat. We have a great set of maps in Harbor Exhibit, starting things off with Harbor coming right at you. We know we are loading into the map. We know both teams have gotten their strategies well underway. They're going to try their best to outmaneuver one another on one of the most beautiful maps. I hate to say it, but the little changes they made, the nuances they made, bringing this map over from Gears 4 to Gears 5, brightening it up, making it much prettier to the human eye. Those nice colors, that nice color palette, the giant DB robots. It's all gorgeous. It's all beautiful. You know who another beautiful human is? That man Toti right there on screen. That man he always looking good. He's always looking good. I ain't never calling him Toto, by the way. It ain't gonna happen. He gonna be Toti.
I'm looking on the other side, though. I'm looking at my beautiful Puerto Rican brethren and Cellz over there. I'm looking at him to pop off if Rated R does have a chance in this one. I'm glad we're going to see him first. He's taking full control of that stern call, and he's not letting up off the gas early on. Getting the first kill of the game, taking out the Fire Nice superstar in Dyslexic.
That was a great first kill, and Rated R off to the races. They've got Gearzly, they got Dyslexic. They really, I hate to say this, but they've put Fire Nice kind of on the back foot, and Xploidz. I love that. Yo, Scavzy, shout out to you already. He knew what Xploidz wanted. He wanted to take the CQC fight, and Xploidz was going to throw a flash. He was going to try to dash, and Scavzy said, how about you outrun these 12 Lancer bullets? I dare you. Just try it. It's going to be fun.
As you see, now Fire and Ice is on the back foot here, Colin. They're going to have to battle back. The first step is taking that elimination you just got, using all 4 members to take piece by piece of the map. It does look like they want to take the high ground first before they go for the hills, and that's a smart move. You're going to be able to Lancer down, but you got to be careful. Nobody is hiding in the wings. Nobody's hiding in any cubbies. You got to take them out quick. Toti's going to be the first one dying, but Scavzy gets revenge. That's going to be an even trade, and they have control of the stern. But look at Cellz backtracking. He's going for Mr. Krabs play. The sound is going to be popping off for just a moment, but they get in B in just the nick of time to escape any threat.
I like this. They're going to take over B. They're going to try to let Toti come off of respawn, get that Lancer down. They're going to go ahead and let him bleed out. Xploidz has a big fight here in a 1v1 Pell. He's got to try to get this down early, but now Scavzy's already rotated down. Beautiful teamwork. 2v1 onto Xploidz to try to take back over control of the B hill. Smoke will be out into Gearzly space, and Gearzly, he's going to get challenged here momentarily. B hill going back in favor of Rated R. The Lancer fire from both the stern and the original spawn are going to have a lot of damage onto Scavzy. They're going to try to bounce out and around. Dyslexic already in the fight. No fear out of Fire and Ice, but I mean, they've kind of been put in this position. They don't have any time to sit back, any time to relax. They are down 2-1, down by about 85 points or so, and this is just getting even worse. Rated R, they came to play today, and that's the kind of answer we needed to see out of them with the way that their season has gone so far.
Yep, that really shows. Fire and Ice not hot, off to a hot start so far. Coming up, losing that first initial battle and really not able to recover. And if you look at the stats, Pell already 2-2 without even dying. We talked about Cellz early on. Pell is a player I've been watching since Gears of War 4. Really made a shot of himself with United. Welcome back to the scene. But since then, since Gears of War 4 has ended, I have not seen the same Pell. He's not putting up the same numbers as I'm expecting, and that's something I need to see if I'm convinced Rated R is going to come out on top.
So we come to the second round. Boltox are out for both sides. You see them trying to maneuver toward that winch. Gonna take another fight here. Fire and Ice need to not lose that first player initially. I like the smokes out from both sides. You saw Rated R try to throw a little wrench in the winch system by trying to backtrack, maybe even take a double man push down there. Cellz will have control over it. Dyslexic is finally going to win this fight here at the top side. They're going to finish him off. Now Yachty waiting in the wings. Almost gets that back air over the cop. Double bounce out, but the shot over the top. I don't know who just saved it. It was Xploidz. Xploidz saves Dyslexic. There's no doubt in my mind he doesn't get hit with another brick right there. And another double bounce followed by a finish by Xploidz. And it almost looks like Fire and Ice has already figured out the best puncher rated R.
They're not even letting them touch onto their home hill. Even with Spawn Shield, they're not able to push up. Scavzy finally going ahead, taking a little bit more. 3 players up, flash towards the backside, but look at all this damage being put out. Fire and Ice is not backing down. They're not scared, but a well-placed flash can open up, but nobody's committing with Yachty. What is Rated R doing? They're sitting in the barrel, and they're just letting Fire and Ice take him out one by one.
This is great Lancer Fire teamwork. They've got some downs. There's the up A. They're going to get 1 double shot down and a 3. Like shooting fish in a barrel, like at a firing range. There's nothing but chickens with targets on their back, baby. All 4 members of Rated R down, dead. Triple cap domination's going to be ticking on through. That'll say it. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. That was all blue.
Wow, Fire and Ice. What an answer back to that first round. And honestly, Rated R looked like a complete opposite one round to the next. I need to see the consistency come out of them. And this is where I talk about for a team that thrives in that CQC, that close quarters combat, that can play as a team, they will propel if they put that big weapon down. But with that retro going down, no bull talk down towards the top side, I don't think there's any way for Rated R to get a weapon advantage. Typically, like I would say, if a bolt talk was placed first round towards the bottom half. So they does look like they're going to try and play that simple, balanced gameplay that we've known to see from Gears of War during that weapon selection stream.
Yara, I'm going to go ahead and ask you this because I know you probably have had to study this as a coach and a manager in the past, and I know you probably called it out to some of your best players in history. Rated R, to me, tipped their hand in that first round. You see a lot of their players going for basically a double bounce situation where they bounce close, bounce wide, and then try to get the one hit of quit on you. Meanwhile, Fire and Ice has already won that initial. Do you tip your hand that much that a team like Fire and Ice knows kind of what you're doing now? Is that a tendency that you can catch on to that easily and just learn to counter it?
100%, especially if you're watching the film week to week and realizing that there's real no depth in this strategy of Rated R. It comes down to putting that big weapon down and fighting all out war for that weapon. If you look, Fire and Ice is knowing when to back up, when to use that team fire, that retro from Xploidz just tearing apart the offense and defense of Rated R. It just looks like they're just falling one by one. Death's getting staggered. No hope. Hell, just returning back to spawn. Nobody even breathing right now on the side of Rated R. Triple cap domination coming through. A break for a moment. A kill coming through. So it does look like they're answering back. But how long can they keep this going?
Well, you're going to see one player take a 1v1 down there at the B hill. Gearzly, he's going to try to mount up on the backside, but 2 more players up Fire and Ice are still just outside of the home hill. It is about at, what is that, 80 to 90 points almost. Dyslexic moves up, tries to go for the L triggers, does get a chance to triple cap, but he's going to get chunked out there by Pell. Rated R have a chance to come back. They're going to try to mount up a little defense here, a little offense here. You see Cellz already moving into the B hill, double Lancer, or excuse me, retro and single Lancer down. I believe that is Xploidz with the retro inside that window. Yachty has no hope to get there to help his teammate. That shuts this right back down. And I mean, how many more times do you want to push in and give yourself up? Or you're just going to play back and let Fire and Ice just come at you head down?
Yeah, Rated R is just playing completely reactionary for most of this round. They're not ones making the first move. They're just waiting for an opening, and they're not really getting one in this round. You saw it. 2 players towards the top side. They had control of Wrench, but Fire and Ice still pushed across the bottom. They still got those eliminations, and then those players towards the top side were slow and late to react. That Fire and Ice was ready defensively in the right position that they got absolutely nothing. Rated R, a team not known for their strategy, not known for their depth, is going to have to think of something fast. You usually talk about the 3rd round being the swing round, but I'm going to change it up this week. This round is the swing round for Rated R in this map.
Rated R needs to figure out a different strategy right here. I think you go ahead and place a big weapon down. You need to change this fight up. You need to make them make a move on the side of Fire and Ice. Even if you go down in the weapon department by 1 round, you let them have that bolt-on placement. Yeah, you just got to do it. This is one of those situations where you won that first round. Really awesome first round. Proud of you. A lot of good shots out, but this just needs to change up, but it doesn't look like they're going to do that. This to me is, I don't want to say infuriating, but it is It is as infuriating as it can be. I hate seeing teams just, we're going to keep going with the same thing. We're going to go with what got us here. Down 1 round and dominated for 2 out of the 3 rounds we've been on the map. Rated R is better and smarter than that. I need to see more out of them, especially later down the road in their weapon placements going into the major or mid-split playoff, whatever it may be.
In the middle, Xploidz already making a play, and they get the down, they get the first blood. This is what I'm talking about. Rated R so one-dimensional, they don't even count the numbers of Fire and Ice up top to know that Xploidz is just waiting, being sneaky as possible, making that play. Now they have a quick 2 hills in their control, and they're funneling the rest of the members of Rated R one by one. Players getting down. Hopefully Xploidz doesn't get over-aggressive, but he's trying to clean up these kills. It does look like it's going to come through, and so is that triple cap domination. Barring any miracles coming out from Cellz, the touch, the reset is going to come through, but he's going to get eliminated right away. Pell meets the same fate, and the round will go to Fire and Ice, and they will lead with a dominant lead of 3-1.
3 rounds in a row, Fire and Ice almost looks like they're playing a competitive horde match. They have got meat shields. They are watching them come off of respawn, snubbing and lancering them down before they even get close to their own home hill. This is getting out of hand and ugly very quickly. I just don't see it happening without them trying to change the momentum, try to change the pace. Once again, Rated R, we talked about how good you are, CQC. We talked about what you have the ability to do if you put out a big weapon and make it about a team fight, but you're not going there. You're not doing that. It's like you're setting yourself up to get there by putting these shocks, these Boltocs, the retros, whatever it may be. But setting yourself up and then being down 4-1 and then placing a big weapon is not just a recipe for a loss, it's a recipe for disaster and some probably pretty upset players on a single team.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much communication's going down round to round. I don't really know who stepped it up for the IGL to be Rated R. But look, another player getting abandoned. Yachty trying to do something. He's going to get evened up, but I do like how he rolls back. He's trying to go right to his teammates, but they're giving up a hill. They need to answer back soon because we've seen what happens when they're in a hole, but they're separating as well. Cellz gets caught out, and now they're going to get picked off 1 by 1. The deaths begin to stagger, but it does look like a rotation is being made towards the bottom half of the map to go home hill to home hill. But look, it's being spotted from a mile away. Toto, I'm gonna call him Toto. I love the name, but he spots him with an eagle eye with the Boltok. Nobody, and I mean nobody from Rated R is slipping through the cracks.
If I start calling him Toto, I'm gonna make a reference to a movie that came out about 40 years before most of you were alive. There's no place like home. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Nobody in chat's gonna understand, and I'm gonna say in your little dog too, and it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be the worst case scenario because everybody's gonna be like, "What is he talking about? What tornado? Why are we talking about Kansas? This is horrifying."
It's their loss for the classics, man.
It is a fantastic movie, but look, we've mounted up across the map 3 members of Fire and Ice trying to D up against 3 members of Rated R. Yachty is trying to push up on Dyslexic. This is a pretty interesting place for Dyslexic to be playing too. You've taken one of your better, more explosive players and put him in a 1v1 spot. I'm not saying I disagree with it if it works out, but I just think that's a ballsy move, and Rated R even threw 2 extra bodies, but it was just too little too late. Yeah, they're gonna get the home-to-home split, but they lose 1 player. You can see that all Fire and Ice has to do now is fight back off of respawn a little bit because they still have the winch, they still have the E-hill. This is going to get ugly because it's a 70-point lead. They still win in 60 seconds, and Rated R is forced to make a move at E. This is just... you talked about not having the right communication. It's almost like they went with Bell Atlantic, and by that I mean they've been out of business for years when it comes to trying to make a phone call, if you know what I'm saying. This is one of those moments where I need to see Rated R. I need to see life out of them, and it's just too little too late every time. They're 1 step back.
Well, say time is winding down, so their window of opportunity is closing. Yachty moves up, quickly gets down, but his teammates are there. They're fighting on the only home hill, making sure nobody from Fire and Ice does slip by. Well-placed flashes. Gearzly takes out 1. Yachty's gonna go ahead and fall. Cellz being pushed back. The hopes of Rated R being dwindled down. And with Dyslexic sneaking by this round is out the window. Fire and Ice will go up 4-1, Colin. And honestly, I think it's time you hit him with the quote. I don't care how old it is. They might need the Wizard of Oz at this point. They need some courage. They need some brains. They need some heart. They need to go home and rethink their strategy.
They've had a house dropped on them already. I'm sorry. This wrap it up 5-1. The house is down. You're just seeing little feet come out from bottom of them. They've got little R's on both of the heels. Like you know how I think it's Dior has the red bottom shoes or whatever. Who has red bottoms? Who does the red bottom shoes? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either, but hopefully we don't let Ruth know. I might have to buy her some.
Look, somebody got some nice red bottom shoes out there, but they got little R's on them right now because the house is falling on Rated R. There's the torque boat. Down 4-1, and we got a power weapon. Stop. I'm in pain, PR. I can't. I need to go get some Tums because this is giving me a heartburn.
Hey, but honestly, if they can pull this one out, it could be the start of something special. Rated R, you're going to have to continuously beat down this squad of Fire and Ice, who's proven to be one of the best teams this season so far. And immediately off this initial, Cellz being pushed back, a down being traded out, well-placed fast, and a shock just making sure that everybody from Fire and Ice is separated. But here comes the regroup. Here comes the plays. Shots being fired. Dyslexic gets taken out, and the window of opportunity from Rated R has been open, but they need to continue the aggression. They need to stagger the deaths, and there goes number 2 for Cellz.
I like that. Fiercely kind of understood his positioning. He knew that he needed to come away with at least 1 kill. Xploidz, he's going to get down at the last second, but it took such a long time to win that fight that everybody's going to still be up kind of at E. The respawns are already going to be there. We're going to see them come back off of respawn, start to mount up their secondary retake. And now we see already Cellz mounted up at the winch. Somebody's right below him. I believe that's player number 2. That's Dyslexic is right below him, trying to be sneaky. They need to be able to push up and try to loot, get Dyslexic lost in the sauce once again. They've already done it 2 times. Where last round, Dyslexic had a 2v1. They were trying to pressure him, and he snuck over to the home hill.
Pay attention to that rotation from Toti. Toti is acting like he's giving up the bottom portion of the map. That player that you were speaking about, Dyslexic, is going to be the last hope, so they can do a number of things here, but this is an opportunity for Fire and Ice to catch somebody off guard. 3 players looking like they're pushed up top, some smokes being placed. Retro in the hands of Toto. They've actually reached the high ground, and they're pushing Rated R back.
Now you see them push in. 1 player gets caught, 2nd player gets caught. Xploidz is feeling himself now. He knows the 3rd kill ain't gonna come his way, but that was
3 in a row.
Beautiful, baby. Dyslexic, he's gonna push up. He gets shot by 2 Boltox, but there's the rotation. Xploidz never even slowed down. Triple cap domination's going to be coming in right now. Already flying off that right hand. There's the 1st kill by Xploidz. Catches a 2nd with a chunk. Pell rolls back, but there's nowhere to go. Nowhere to hide. Fire and Ice, they win it 5-1. The house, it's settled on that corpse.
Oh man, what a beatdown given out from Fire and Ice. And yes, you guys are lucky to see that one for free today. And you got to give him a chance there. If you look at the stats from Rated R, nobody really keeping up in terms of the deaths from Pell. He's doing everything he can to keep his team alive. But don't go anywhere. This match is still on, but commercial break before we continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gears Pro League. We are in the midst of Fire and Ice versus Rated R, and we are coming hot off of a 5-1 by Fire and Ice over Rated R. And PR, what was the number 1 thing that stood out to you as the reason Rated R went down in that matchup? It
honestly just looked like they were on different pages. That first round, if you actually pay attention and really break it down and take the time to rewatch it, they looked like they were on the same page. Players were backing each other up. Players would move forward as a cohesive unit, but they would also fall back where they would need to as a full team as well. Every round after that, you see it. They're getting their death staggered. They're jumping in 1 by 1. All 4 players have shotguns out. No one's really supporting one another's efforts. On the side of Fire and Ice, you saw Retros, you saw Lancers, you saw Boltox, but you also saw those big shotgun plays coming through. Map number 1, Harbor, 5-1. An Exhibit, honestly, Colin, I think it's a little bit better opportunity for Rated R coming through in this one. And the reason being because every single round is going to see the same exact style of fight. The hills are not going to rotate, so they have the opportunity to kind of close it down, play the same fight over and over, and put that big weapon down early, and don't put yourself behind, because we see a lot of teams cherish that retro on a map like this, especially when they put it in the right player's hands.
Well, this map also kind of boils down a lot, and I've seen it a lot of times where it's that up top fight. Who can take over the top side of Exhibit, use that top level to really put pressure on your opponent's home hill, maybe even get the Lancer angle down to the bottom where their team is trying to set up, maybe even trying to roll back and just defend one hill. You win that top fight, you're able to put pressure wherever you please. But one way or the other, Rated R has to find that early answer for the 5-1 that was just handed off to them on Harbor. Already Fire and Ice, they're threatening in here to the B hill. Xploidz is going to be facing off against Cellz. Double splash, double stun. Not exactly the start you need for Rated R, as they couldn't even push up. Cellz can't even try to take that fight. Scavzy's gonna get red, almost dead, but doesn't go down. And there's the first death for Fire and Ice. It's gonna be Dyslexic, and now the rest of the members have to spring into action to try to make up for it.
You see Yachty backing up. That's the right play. The amount of time we see players get one-shotted around that corner. You see the 3v2 attempt going down towards the middle. Scavzy gets picked off, but Pell, the right place, the right time to get that down. There goes number 2 to save the play, even though he's not necessarily getting the kills. Actually, Pell does pick up both of those kills, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Pell heat up. I want to see him be the player, like I spoke about early on in Gears of War 4, that could take over games. And early on, Rated R, just like in map number 1, has shown they have signs of greatness. They have hope. They can show that they can beat some of these top teams, but how often can they consistently do it and pull it together? You already see Fire and Ice answering back.
I see Dyslexic trying to shoot over the middle cover. He gets the decap there onto B. He's going to actually stay in it now. I believe he's safe enough. And you see, I believe that's Toti pushing up that right side, really trying to put the pressure so that they can solidify that B hill. Flash is out. Cellz has to rotate all the way back. Toti has died on the opposite side of the map. So Rated R has an opening that they need to move toward the B hill. It's going to be Scavzy going on the flank, trying to get up there where he can get shots onto the backside of anybody from Fire and Ice. Meanwhile, Yachty, he's just won another fight at his home hill, so even though Fire and Ice has the 2-to-1 hill advantage, this should even up at 3-to-3, and Rated R will have their 4th player off of respawn sooner rather than later, and that's where they need to push. They need to go ahead and be ready to fly with this next retake, and that's a good little initial there, taking out Dyslexic, and now they're going to have Toti. They're going to have him full red, but Toti somehow lives to get the shot on, the down, and the out. Yachty left by himself to his own accords, tries to hit it up A, and walks right into the barrel of Toti's Nasher. Now Pell, stuck between literally some rocks and a hard place, has to retreat to his side of the map.
That's what I'm saying. In that first round, you have to be able to push forward as a team, but also fall back. And that even counts across the map, Colin. You got to be able to know that my team's playing aggressive on the other side. I am the point which the enemy team is going to push. I'm the biggest weakness of our roster. I need to be able to stay alive. And it doesn't look like Rated R is catching on to that memo. They're trying to push forward. They're trying to catch Gearzly out of position, but he gets help. The help comes through from Gearzly. Toto gets another one as well, as Fire and Ice looking to hold on to this round. And that is a big round to steal away from Rated R.
He's going to push back against the Tide, kill off Yachty. This is going to solidify the round for them. That first round under their belt. And PR, I hate to break it to everybody out there, this is a 6-round consecutively for Fire and Ice. 5-1 after losing the first round last map. Now they've already started 1-0. I'm just curious, at what point does Rated R change up the motion in the ocean, baby? Where do they go from here?
Honestly, on a map like this, it's very, very hard to kind of change things up because, like I said, you're playing this throughout the entire way through. So you have to make sure that when you're ready to put that big weapon down, that you have exhausted all your options, all your strategies, everything, and so on and so forth. But you talked about up top being that place. Typically, we do see grenades placed up top to where that 1v1, there's a little more pressure being placed onto that 1v1 for somebody to win or lose that fight. Fire and Ice working well as a full unit, so I think that should be the play that Rated R should go for, but it does look like nobody's going to waste any time waiting for those grenades. Gearzly and Yachty both pushing up top.
Toti is inside of that B hill. He's got a lot of defense around him. They have stacked up like bodyguards around the map. Cellz sitting back on that water side. There's double flashes out. Toti doesn't really have anywhere to go back toward his home side. He's going to have to mount up with that Lancer, try to give shots over the top. Here comes the push, the extra flashbang out. Cellz is going to push up, goes for the first up bang. Trying to get these L triggers, finally gets one to land. Cellz will get the kill onto Xploidz with Toti. His answers right back, and then Toti goes for the up A, maybe even a back A there, but we'll never know as Pell shuts him down as soon as he makes contact with the cover. So kills are traded out, but the hill still in favor right now with Fire and Ice. Finally, Rated R move into it. I believe that is Scavzy trying to get that decap. Gearzly moving across the top of the map. Has the mark onto Cellz down in their respawn bank or respawn area. They have yet to push up toward that home hill. They're just trying to mount up, and now they've sent a second player up top. That's going to be Xploidz trying to find any player from Rated R out of position before they make this next push. Gearzly, well, that's Scavzy. That's a good first shot on Dyslexic. Now he goes wide. Second shot in, gets the third shot for the kill. And now, Rated R, they've kind of settled into this. This is a good second round for them.
Yep. I like what they were trying to do on the side of Fire and Ice, though. They were trying to spread the numbers out, put some players up top, overextend the numbers, then possibly try and fall back. but it didn't work out for them. The score, Rated R finally getting the lead here, and they got Fiercely out of position, an opportunity here to stagger the death, but Yachty needs to be careful. He actually hops over the cover on accident. Fiercely, you need to be able to get one of these eliminations, at least trade out. You've been doing good so far, but it's slipping through your hands. The reinforcements come through, but you yourself get taken out. Dyslexic doing what he can to even it up, but he's still in another 1v2 situation. He's taking all the damage in the world, just finding a way to waste some time, but Fire and Ice, they're finally getting into the hill in the middle. They're down 20 points. They don't have the players to hold it, though. So Radar has an opportunity to push forward. They need to go now, they're calling. They're wasting too much time.
They need to try to hop that cover, but I mean, if Scavzy hops, that's an easy kill for Xploidz. Now you see them pushing up that left side toward that rock side of the map, not the aquarium. You see Pell's gonna back up Yachty, but he didn't need any help. He gets that first kill there. The decap comes through on B. Rated R. They are able to win this round. Even if they don't retake B, all they've got to do is sit on the 1-to-1 spree and just win it off of points. Toti, he's going to get that first kill onto Scavzy. They're recapping the B hill. This might flip back over, and it does indeed. They're going to be down to just 10 more seconds before Rated R loses back-to-back rounds in map number 2. That shuts it down. The retake is off. Fire and Ice, 7 in a row. 3 rounds away from a hot 2-0 over Rated R.
Like beating a dead horse right now. Rated R really put all their eggs in one basket and then just dropped it out of a 3rd-story building. There goes Compute, and honestly, you got to give credit to Fire and Ice, realizing their win conditions right there towards the very end. I do believe it was Scavzy might have gotten that hill in the middle. He got the break, but he got greedy, Colin. He went for the capture as well, but they had a little bit of a lead. You even said it. They just needed to go 1-for-1. As soon as he got eliminated, Fire and Ice put their foot to the gas and immediately realized their win condition. As soon as we got this capture on the neutral hill, we'll gain the lead and win from there. That's why this weapon selection is so important. Rated R to not fall behind. That Boltok going to be turned to retros. I said on a map like this, they do like to favor retros. It might get upgraded one more time to every 60 seconds before that shock or instant makes his appearance.
Coming into the 3rd round of this matchup, retros out for both sides. And I mean, last map, we saw just how deadly it was in any hands of Fire and Ice. Both pick it up. It's going to be Toti on one side, Pell on the opposite. Up top, Yachty might try to change the fortunes of Rated R. He gets a good first shot and a great 2nd shot. This is going to be a wide bounce and a 3rd shot attempt, but he doesn't actually get the down on that. Back A's coming out. 1v1 up top. If it gets settled out in Fire and Ice's favor, Gearzly saw the challenge. He answered the bell, gets the kill, and that's going to actually slow down all of Rated R. Their whole push basically centered around them being able to push through the bottom with the safety of up top taking control, and that gets shut down quite quickly by Fire and Ice, and they have an ability to take back the map positioning. But Pell, I mean, that was a beautiful little blindy over the top to get the 1-shot jump.
Both of these teams not wanting to give up this neutral hill without an all-out war, but finally it's going to be Fire and Ice getting the first lap, getting that first capture, getting a little bit of a lead over towards our side. But if you see the Fire being thrown out from Rated R, they're funneling those members of Fire and Ice all to one side. Big kill coming out from Cellz. He just can't get too antsy. Don't get over aggressive. Your teammates are there for the cross. You got more angles than the Olympic gold medalist himself. You just got to put him to use.
They have done a fantastic job so far. Scavzy will get that kill there. Here's the B hill going back in favor of Rated R. Trading back and forth. Shots out by Scavzy, trying to get this kill onto Toti. Toti, though, he gets caught even with the misroll. Scavzy comes right up into his grill and pulls the trigger for the 1-shot. Now you see Yachty and Cellz left side of the map. They're going to finish off that kill along with a little bit of help from their friend. That's 3 players from Rated R pushing into the home hill of Fire and Ice, trying to find this answer. Trades come through off the first, but 2v3 on the map right now to try to stop this triple cap domination.
This is what separates those good teams from, well, the not good teams, Colin. Those win conditions, knowing when you're biting off too much. And they did exactly that. They should have played for another round of eliminations, played for an aggressive setup. They took too much time rotating over, rightfully so, from where they did get the eliminations. Those players are going to be respawned. You got to know that. So Rated R completely throwing everything they earned right out the window because Fire and Ice already getting that decap. They're able to stay in the hill to try to go for the capture. Pell trying to make a big play to 1v1. He gets taken out by Fiercely. So Fire and Ice once again stealing this round away from Rated R.
And they've only got a few more kills to be able to put that pressure. You see them getting their home hill back. That's going to be another kill in favor. You're going to see Dyslexic go down. 3 players of Fire and Ice are mounted up outside of the home. Beautiful job for the push in the back A out of Toti. Now it's up to Pell. He tries to take the cover, but the extra lance of fire from up top settles that up. The meat shield in the hill for Gearzly. That is a 3-0 off of the back of one of the most over-aggressive pushes at the home hill of Fire and Ice by Rated R. Comes back to bite them as they lose everybody off of the fight. And Fire and Ice, they didn't slow up. They let their last player off a respawn go to the B hill to get the decap, whereas everyone else settled up at the home hill of Rated R, which allowed them to continue to get those kills, continue to push forward in the round, and eventually get the domination. 2 rounds away now. Fire and Ice, I believe, are just playing on that next rung up the ladder. This is a hell of a mountain to climb for Rated R. They have the talent, but this is just right now just very lopsided.
I feel like we should get like a soundboard with just Blaze saying there's levels to this at this point. And you're really seeing it before our eyes, week after week, matchup after matchup. This is honestly beauty before my eyes, even for teams like Fire and Ice, who are able to take out these teams and really just dismantle them piece by piece. Rated R, like you said, they're very talented individuals, but that's kind of where it stops. They're not working together as a team. They're getting overthrown. Cellz immediately overpowered. He gets downed out twice. Lots of damage being put out. Narrowly escapes with his life, but now he has to play in fear of just getting completely taken out by taking out too much damage. A push coming through. Cellz going to be the first one to lead the charge, but this is the player I said had to watch out. Yachty gets taken out. Fire and Ice is already +1, but a trade coming through. You got to think Yachty's still down, so these players have to go. Pell falls, Cell falls, everybody is dead from Rated R. Any fans in the chat that can keep him alive, you better speak up now.
I don't know if speaking up is going to help. There's only 2 seconds left to make it a 4-0. Gearzly hitting him with a disco dance. That's a throwback, baby. We haven't seen a house party like that in quite some time, but Gearzly, he's trying to start it up with a little bit of flash and dash into the hill to put the pressure onto Rated R, and it comes through for him. And right now, there is just not a lot going for Rated R. I'd like to kind of get a chance to look over the scoreboard right now. It's not that I want to call anybody out. I'd just like to kind of get a look at who might be, really needs to start stepping it up, start trying to perform for Rated R. And, you know, I hate to say it, but right now, 4, 6, and 10, 7, and 9, it really nobody is getting the job done for Rated R. Fire and Ice is a complete unit, are shutting down the side of Rated R. But look at the only bright spot is Xploidz, who played so well last night, is 4-11 himself. So I guess you can hang your hat on that you're holding him down.
I mean, you got to take those little victories, I guess. But where in your season do you take the big victory? Where in your season you really pull up your pants and take out one of these top dogs? I know Fire and Ice is slowly carrying themselves out of that slump that they had in the start of the season, and after the big win yesterday against United, they got to be flying at an all-time high, and that's carrying over into this match. But on the side of Rated R, I got to ask Colin, what are things you can do, really, even if you lose this match, to prepare yourself next week? Because it doesn't stop here. There's still more in the season, and there's still more to go.
Cellz rolling into an incendiary.
The zone.
But he just saw it. But there was, oh my
God. What happened was.
There it is. That's the only explanation you can get at this point. Look, some people like their toast, you know, a little on the crispy side. We know Marcus does, and Pell was just, Cellz was just assuming that Dominic Santiago does as, oh my God, wow. 3-shot down. Easy. Wait, what? I thought that would be a 2-shot kill from the down on the Molotov. I don't know, but who am I to judge? Oh no, Mr. Oh my God!
You gotta win this.
Oh, thank God.
At this point, I'm a Rated R fan, just hoping they win some of these exchanges. If not as individuals, if not as a team, as individuals, they need to go big. They need these windows to be open right now. 4-0. The window's closed. The latch is just not latched yet, and this last round, Fire and Ice is like putting a latch there, making sure nobody intrudes. Cellz going down the push. A lot of damage being fired out from Fire and Ice, and it's Rated R who have to make the move. Cellz down twice. They need to switch spots here, and a play needs to be made, and it starts. Scavzy's able to get one. Taken out by Toto. Cellz needs to be careful here. He could get downed out. Lots of damage being fired out. One more shot, and it could do him in. He needs to be careful. Then there's just a lick of fire being crossed out from Pell to save his life, but it cost Pell his own.
We see you.
Now you see Yachty coming back off of respawn, going up to the top. I think somebody stuck behind him. Was that there is a little sneak. Yachty's just waiting in the wings at the home hill of Fire and Ice. Xploidz going to get called out. Yachty gets another kill. This might be the one round that they're going to be able to come back and get going for the headshots. Yachty hits at least 2 body shots with the Boltok. It'll keep the 2-hill advantage in their favor. Meanwhile, they're going to wait for, I believe, Gearzly to come off a respawn, and there goes Yachty. Yachty's now going to push back up to the top. He's going to be full red. That should open things back up for the home hill until Yachty decides to push back down. Boltok shots, 1, 2, 3, only hitting a third of them. Meanwhile, oh my, okay, he gets a trade out. That's a trade out, but Fire and Ice, they're on the home hill of Radar. They're looking to shut this down. Double shot on that player. There's the double cap. Toti waiting in the wings, sees the bounce from Scavzy. The up A comes out, the full spread gets the down and the out. Cellz, he has to go back off toward the aquarium side. There's the mark and the Lancer. Pell on the box with the up A of his own. Left trigger out. Good pot shots and the hip fire from long range will get the down. And now Toti was trying to wait on Yachty, but Yachty with another kill, but that doesn't matter because the 3, 2, 1 sounds the bell and it is done. Fire and Ice 5-0 after a 5-1 and 2-0 the side of Rated R.
Man, I feel bad for Yachty late into that one. He got that early elimination. He had 2 players on him, Colin, and his team, I don't even know what they were doing. We weren't watching them, but they did not come up hot in a 3v2 to really take over the rest of those hills. You saw the cost it had game after game. Rated R was in all 5 of those rounds that they lost, but they just did nothing to answer back.
They never found the correct answer, even if it was open book. I feel like they would have struggled finding even the right chapter because Fire and Ice, it was almost like they were given a quiz on a completely different subject matter in that matchup. I got to give big props, by the way, to how good Fire and Ice has developed over the past few weeks with their rotations, with shooting for one another. As everybody knows, now that it is 4v4, that extra Lancer bullet here or there has come in the clutch more often than it has not. And Fire and Ice is the perfect example of that. All 4 of those guys are willing to try to put in the extra damage to help get that down. And I just think they're doing a stupendous job of showing that teamwork does make the dream work as they find themselves on another winning note. And they're weak right now, PR. They're 4-0 in maps.
Wow. 4-0. And honestly, that's the type of momentum you need to carry on with yourself, especially after you started that preseason, after you've gotten in throughout that challenger qualification process. You need to be able to carry on that over. You saw what it did to Vanquish last season. They not only dominated the season, but they took the major by storm. I'm not going to say history is going to repeat itself and call it too early by Fire and Ice by any means, but this does have the makings, a recipe for success, and I like what I'm seeing.
I mean, it all comes down to the grind, right? We've seen teams be very hot throughout the regular season. Vanquish, they did it from start to finish, but the other teams below them that were hot, very hot, even going into the major, struggling once they got on the bright lights on the big stage, and it didn't come out exactly how they needed it to. So I'm hoping that one thing we find teams like a Fire and Ice, the teams like a Pittsburgh Knights, I need them to find that consistency to not just perform well here in Pro League, but to keep it moving, keep it grooving into that major. This is one of those moments where everybody has to make sure on Fire and Ice that they keep each other accountable for their actions. 2-0, 5-1, 5-0. Everybody pretty much saw this coming from the get-go. I think a lot of people might have just believed that Rated R could have won a few more extra rounds. And for the side of Rated R, this is them having to go back and figure out what's the difference. Is it just putting down a big power weapon to start off with? You might give up the Boltok coming into the second round, but I don't really know how many people go for that right off the rip, especially on Harbor. You're going to send somebody through there to try to get that extra lane with the Boltok. Now you're giving up a 4v3 up top, whatever it might be. It's just those little nuances. This is having Rated R has to find those wrinkles now. They've got to go back and they've got to stop just playing it. They got to stop playing it by chalk. They got to start taking the eraser. They got to start taking that pad up there and just start to write some new things up, because right now none of their ideas seem to be working for them when they're trying to go head to head with a squad like Fire and Ice.